We are at chapter 37. Mr. N, field commander of the Timidrai force attacking Will's position, had poured his men into the attack with reckless disregard. As the Kaijin engaged archers, his lancers and swordmen hurled themselves against the line of Canadian axemen protecting them. Mr. N had sensed that this attack was the final throw of the dice for his commander. If they couldn't break through this time, he knew Mr. H would order a general withdrawal, unwilling to take further casualties in this campaign. The thought of withdrawal, or of failure, was anathema. Anathema? Yep, anathema to Mr. N. He urged his men on now, willing them to break through the Canadians' lines and destroy the small but highly effective force of archers who sheltered behind it. The ground in front of the Canadians' defences was littered with the bodies of his men and horses, but gradually they were driving the wild northerners back as their numbers were depleted and the defensive line became more fragile. Dismounted now, the Timidrai swordmen swarmed up the earth slope, slashing and stabbing with their long-bladed sabres. Grimly, the Canadians fought back. General, one of his staff, grabbed his arm and pointed to a small group of riders angling away from the battle. The Kaijin are withdrawing. Mr. N cursed them as they rode away. Pampered and privileged, he thought. He knew they regarded themselves as elite members of the Timidrai force. Kaijin shooters were excused the dangers of direct combat, so they could sit back and pick off enemy commanders in relative safety. Now faced with accurate and deadly return shooting for the first time in their lives, they had broken and deserted him. He made a vow that he would see them all die for their cowardice. But that would have to wait. Now he realized the Canadian archers were launching flight after flight of arrows into the rear ranks of the main attack once more. They had to be stopped. The sudden resumption of the deadly volleys could tip the balance of the battle. Mr. H had remarked that his deputy had no sense of the bigger picture when it came to warfare, but Mr. N had an ability that made him a superb tactical commander. He could sense the crucial moment in a battle, the moment when everything hung in the balance and a determined effort from either side could make the difference between victory and defeat. He sensed such a moment now, watching his men struggling with the Canadians, seeing for the first time an element of uncertainty in the enemy. He drew his saber from his scabbard and turned to his own personal bodyguard, a half-Ulan of 30 seasoned troops. Come on, he yelled and led them in a charge towards the Canadian line. Mr. N's instincts were accurate. The Canadians, exhausted and bleeding, their numbers depleted, were hanging on with their last reserves of strength and will. The Timidrai numbers seemed never-ending. For every one who fell before the Canadian axes, it seemed another two rushed to fill his place, screaming their war cries and slashing and stabbing with their sabres. Now, as a fresh force drove into the line, dismounting and scrabbling up the earth berm, the balance tipped. First one, then another Canadian gave way. Then they were retreating in groups as the Timidrai drove through the gap they had finally forced, striking down the fleeting Canadians as they tried to escape. Mr. N waved his saber towards the line of the archers, still pouring volley after volley at the main attack. The archers! Kill the archers, he ordered his men and started towards them. In the command position, Horace threw down the bulky, clumsy shield he had been using and grabbed up his own round buckler. His sword slid from its sheath with an expectant hiss as he swung his legs over the papere. Stay here, he told Will, then headed down the slope to meet the first group of Timidrai as they clambered up towards him. Now it was Will's turn to watch in awe as his friend went on the attack. His sword moved in bewildering patterns, flicking in and out, overhand, backhand, forehand, thrust, as he cut down the attackers. The first attacker was driven back now. A larger group of Timidrai moved towards the tall warrior. Again there was the clash of steel on steel, but now, as they threatened to encircle him, Horace was forced to give ground. Will looked down at his arrow bin. There were 5 arrows left, and he began shooting. Steadily, deliberate shots to pick off the Timidrai who tried to surround his friend. He glanced toward the archers. The shield bearers had grabbed up their own weapons and were moving to protect them. In addition, some of the retreating Canadians had had regrouped at the archer's position. Everyone was still calling the volleys, he noticed. Keep it up, he yelled, and she glanced around, nodded, and turned back to her task. Horace was almost back to the elevated command position now, still fighting off the determined attackers from the Timidri. He was fighting alone, however, and vulnerable from the rear. Will, his stock of arrows finally exhausted, drew his 2 knives and moved to protect his friend's back. In the center of the Canadian's line, Eric sensed a similar moment of opportunity. The Timidri were fighting hard, but the savage intensity had long gone from their attackers. Weakened and demoralized by the regular downpour of arrows from the right flanks, their support ranks were withdrawing, and leaving those troops engaged with the Canadian's line without the regular reinforcements they had needed to maintain the rhythm of their attack. He had got down a Timidri captain who had come screaming over the earthworks and turned to look for Holt. The ranger was positioned behind him, standing on a parapet and coolly picking off the Timidri as they came forward. Mr. H's tactics of stripping his Uhlans of their shooters were working against the Timidri here. For a change, it was they who were losing their commanders to accurate aimed shots, while the Canadian leaders continued to devastate anyone who came within range of their whirling axes. Disengaging himself, Eric vaulted up beside Holt. He gestured to the Canadian left wing, so far uncommitted. I'm thinking if we hit them from the flank, we might finish them, he said. Holt considered the idea for a moment. It was a risk, but battles were won by taking risks, he knew, or lost. He came to a decision. Do it, he agreed. And Eric nodded. Then he looked beyond Holt and cursed. The ranger swung round to look in the same direction, and together they watched the Timidri breaking through the line below Will's position. They both knew that if the rain of arrows stopped, the Timidri rear ranks might well recover their cohesion, and their moment might be lost. Now was the time to act. Bring the left flank in, Holt said briefly. He grabbed up a spare quiver of arrows and started to run towards Will's command position. Eric watched him go, knowing that one man wouldn't make any difference. He looked around desperately, his gaze lighting on Ragnar, standing in the middle of a circle of fallen Timidri. The Oberjal's eyes were wild and staring. He had discarded his shield and was swinging his massive axe two-handed, blood streamed from 6 wounds on his arms, legs, and body, but seemed oblivious to the fact. He was on the point of berserking, Eric knew, and he also knew that one man like that might make all the difference in the world. Eric cut his way through to the Oberjal, winning a brief respite as the Timidri fell back from the 2 huge warriors. Ragnar looked up, recognized him, and showed his teeth in a triumphant savage grin. We're destroying them, Eric, he yelled, his eyes still wild. Eric grabbed him by the arm, shaking him to make him focus his attention. I'm bringing in the left flank, he yelled, and the Oberjal smiled and shrugged. Good, let them have some more fun too, he bellowed. Eric pointed to the battle raging on the seaward side. The right wing is in trouble. They've broken through. The ranger needs help there. It seemed odd to be giving orders to his superior commander, but then he realized Ragnar was incapable of directing the flank attack in this mood. He was good for only one thing, a devastating, crushing attack on any enemy who stood in his way. Now, as he heard Eric's word, Ragnar nodded repeatedly. That sarcastic know-it-all needs help, does he? Then I'm his man. And with a roar, he charged off after Holt, followed by his retinue of 12 axemen. Eric breathed a quick prayer to the valors. 12 men might not be a lot, but with Ragnar in this near-berserk mode, it could be enough. Then he shoved the troubles of the right flank to the back of his mind and began yelling for a messenger. The right flank would have to look after itself for a few more minutes. Right now, he needed the left flank to hit his enemy from the side. Oh, look at that. We made it to chapter 38. So, I'd like to thank you for listening to read chapter 37. If you'd like to listen to me read chapter 38, then please stay posted and hope I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.